Hi, and thanks for stopping by for another journal with me. For today's episode, I wanted to create a flip out which was heavily inspired by Rachel from Roxy Creations. She creates a flip out from different kind of envelopes than I'm using, and she's making kind of a different booklet than I'm making, but she really inspired me to make this. So please go check out her video as well. She has an awesome channel and she has a very sweet Australian accent as well. So yeah, go check her out. But in the meantime, I would love for you to stay and watch what I'm doing as well. Hoping that this will inspire you to work with your envelopes. You can do this with any kind of envelopes. And these two that you see here I got in a Happy Mail recently, and so I'm making this booklet with pockets inside. And so as you just saw, I glued the flap of one envelope onto the other, so that forms a booklet now. And now the next step is I'm going to cover the front part of the booklet, and if actually you want to glue this booklet into your journal, then you can skip this step. I wasn't really thinking that far ahead when I was making this. So basically I'm gonna end up putting this into my journal with a paper clip, which you will see in the end. And I'm really just making this as I'm moving forward. I have no plan of what the final product will look like, and I'm just kind of going step by step, seeing what I can make. So now working on the inside of the booklet, I'm again going through my paper scraps, which I have recently reorganized and decluttered a bit because it was getting way out of hand, and so the small ones I just had to toss because it was just too much and I wasn't getting to use them anyway. So I thought I'd rather sort them out and keep the ones I think I would have a better chance of using. So here I just chose two book pages that had writing on them, and they're both different. So the two insides of my booklet are not going to be the same, but they have the same style. So I'm just measuring what dimensions they have to be. I'm not really measuring, I'm just kind of checking it with the paper. And as you can see, I'm just using a regular ruler to tear the edges. Sometimes that's just quicker than using my cutting tool, which also sometimes doesn't really like all kinds of papers. So when they're too old, then it's going to fray them more than it's going to cut them. So tearing them with a ruler is a good option. Now I'm just using my glue stick to cover both of those inside flaps. So this way I have a nice background for whatever else I will decide to put on there. So on this one envelope, you see there's a window, which I think is really cool. And of course I wanted to incorporate that rather than cutting it up. So I wanted to choose an image that would go into that window, and to be able to choose that better, I decided to take its measurements and cut out a window out of a scrap page so that I can then hold it against some images from some floral books to see what the actual image will look like once it's in that little envelope, that little window of the envelope. So here I'm just checking it against my images and seeing which one I like best in that window. This is a book I found at the flea market. It's a German book. It's called Blumenfibel and it's amazing. It has the most beautiful flower illustrations, and I wish I could link it for you, but it's just too old. So I chose this one, and now I'm checking again what the window should be, or what the piece should look like. So now I'm just cutting around that so that I would still have a border around the window, so that I can then tape it into the inside of that envelope. I'm just erasing my pencil marks of the window. And I'm gonna slip that right into that one envelope. And I really love how that peeks through. So now I also wanted to include a word or a phrase or something. I'm going through my phrases in my little cigar box that I have typed on a Word document on my computer and just printed out on some coffee dyed paper, and I go for this one. And so first I thought I was going to put it in the envelope, but now holding it there I realized that it's really cool actually to have it on top of the envelope. So obviously I'm inking the edges because it's me. And I'm just going to glue it right on top there. And I really love how that looks. But before I do that, I just take a piece of regular tape, not washi, because I think regular tape will hold it better. And I'm just gluing it in to hold it in place so that it won't move later on. And now I'm going to just glue that phrase onto it. No, I'm sorry. First, before I do that, I wanted to cover the rest of the envelope without the window, because I didn't like that gray of the envelope for this project. So I again took the measurements of the envelope, and now I'm taking the measurements of the window so that I can again cut a window like I had in that scrap paper on the right. I just have to make sure that it's exactly in the right place so that it doesn't overlap the window. So I'm just trying to draw that, and now I'm just gonna take my scissors and cut that out like I did the other window. And can you believe it? I actually forget to ink the edges, so I will have to do that later once it's glued on. I'm just erasing those sketch marks I have there, and I'm just gonna glue it down. Some liquid glue just because it's easier than with the glue stick, but you can absolutely do this with the glue stick as well. And thankfully it fits on there nicely. Looks like the measurements were correct, which doesn't always happen with me. So I think that's very nice. That's better than the gray. And now I'm inking. So the edges, the outer edges are easy, the inner edges are kind of harder to do, but it works. So yeah, so now finally I'm putting that phrase down, and I really like how that looks. So now moving back onto the inside, I wanted to glue that pocket with the window shut. So I'm just using my white glue, sealing that up. So, and now I decided I wanted some pockets on the inside where I could add some tags. And of course these are very versatile to make. So I mean the inside pages are very versatile, so you can put anything you want in there. You don't have to make pockets, you can do other things. But I decided to use some pockets, and I used these. I believe these might have been from Maud, from a Happy Mail. So I'm just cutting them out. So this time I don't forget to ink them, so next step is to ink them up. And I'm using Vintage Photo for inking. And now I'm just going to use the same white glue to glue around the 3 sides so that it forms a pocket. So I do that with both. And I know they're not the same size, but I don't think they have to be. I think it's fine for the 2 pages to be different. It creates more interest. Okay, so now I'm looking for things that I could make into a tag. So this is yet again from another Happy Mail. Don't remember who this was from. I'm sorry, I've had this for a while. And I'm just tearing it down so it would fit as a tag. And I wanted, since it was just a thin book page, I wanted to back it with some beige cardstock that I have tons of. and I'm just cutting that to be just a tiny bit wider and longer than the tag, than the image. So after I've inked that up, I'm just going to glue that down as well with my glue stick. And I'm actually not doing anything else to this tag. I think it's pretty as it is. I didn't want to add more bulk either, so I'm not putting any ribbon or anything on top. Now I went through my other floral cutouts that I have from other vintage books. This is from a really lovely book that I have linked in my Amazon page in the description box. You can find it there. I bought it used. I believe I bought it from the UK Amazon, but I saw the US Amazon has it as well. And I don't remember the title right now, but you will find it in the link that I have in the description box. So I'm doing the same thing. I decided to go with 2 tags for this because they're a bit more narrow. And so I'm doing the same thing by just measuring a little wider than the images, cutting those out. And images are inked and these are inked, so same thing, I'm just gonna glue them on, and I don't do anything else to them because the book itself is already bulky, and I'm already seeing my May junk journal is already getting junky, although it was so thin when it started out. I only had 15 pages folded in half in it with 3 signatures. So yeah, I didn't want to add more than necessary bulk. So now time for decorating the front of the booklet or the back, however you want to then flip it in the end. So I again use images from that book. These I have fussy cut, and I choose this yellow pretty floral image, and I'm using my AliExpress washi, which is a set. I've also had this in the last video. I will link it again below, and I want to warn you again, it only has 2 meters on each roll, so not a lot, but it's an awesome set. It's very inexpensive and great for this kind of journaling. And as you can see, it has a great variety of muted natural colors. So I'm just putting those down to form some accents behind the image to make, for example, the yellow pops much more with the color underneath. And finally, I'm adding some self-adhesive lace. This one I got locally from the store Action, but you can definitely find this as well, both on AliExpress and on Amazon. They're very fun and versatile to use, and I use them quite in a lot of my spreads, so I'm just trying to figure out where I want it placed exactly. And I'm just putting that down. And as a final touch, I'm adding another one of my phrases or definitions. I'm just cutting it down a little bit, inking, and then gluing it down, and that will be the front side of the pocket. Okay, so that little booklet is done. Oh, sorry, it's not. While I was doing it, I actually forgot I had another pocket available. And I forgot now again in this voiceover. So I'm taking a journaling card, again, a Happy Mail item. We don't really see those here in Vienna. So I'm just trying to figure out how to place it best. And since it was thinner than the envelope itself and it would kind of get lost in that pocket, I decided to add a tab to it. And so I'm again checking which one would work best. And I have this one that says Blossom, so perfect for a floral booklet. So I'm just gluing that on the side there. So perfect. And next I'm going to journal on this card very quickly. I'm just going to write down some of my favorite flowers, which are peonies, buttercup, tulips, jasmine, water lily, poppy, lilac, and lavender. I'm sure there's more, but I left it at that for this list. And so I'm just going to stick that right in there. So now the booklet is finished, and I always find, I want to show you here, I printed out the list for the May challenge from Cafe Analog, which of course will be listed in the description box as below. You can find it there. There's some awesome prompts there. And I'm trying to find a page to add this booklet to. And sometimes I think the most challenging parts about these kind of things or this kind of ephemera is attaching it to your book. So I was trying to come up with a way where I could see all the 4 sides, but of course that's not gonna work unless I put it in with washi tape, which I didn't want. So I decided to go with this large paper clip, which is also an AliExpress item. I think they're really nice, and I will link those below as well. So that's it for this spread. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you're gonna give it a try. It's a lot of fun and very versatile. So hope to see you in the next one. Have an awesome day. Bye.